Hello, welcome to episode 6 of the Learn English with News podcast. Here, it's Stu Sensei and my glorious host, Dan Sensei. Say hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
There we go.
Yeah, love it. Love it. How
We
you doing,
got to
buddy?
stop it. We got to stop it at some point. It can't continue much longer, can it?
Right about it's the thing that people tune in for if you don't enjoy
Yeah,
it.
it's
Yeah.
true. That's all they're here for. How are you this week?
I'm doing all right, buddy. It's getting a bit chilly over here, but we're doing all right. How's life on your side?
Yeah, it's good. Like you say, it's getting cold. So I'm on the long sleeves now.
I've not
So
got there yet.
not just yet, yeah, but yeah, I'm in the long sleeve because it changes and but I still have the problem that there's a little bit of sun, so I can get sunburnt ridiculously easily,
Oh, me
even if it's
too.
cloudy, so
I've
it's
got sunburnt in a typhoon before.
I need a balaclava. I need everything, going on. Glasses, sunglasses, to stop that sun coming through. But yeah.
And don't use sun cream, use emulsion that they use to paint walls. That'll do.
That'll definitely do the job. Factor 1000.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you didn't know, if you've never been here before, we go through 3 articles and go through the tricky words. We also do some pronunciation and some shadowing to help your English get to the next level. And we're going to go through two very topical things in the news recently, and one fun one from the UK, local news, which is something you probably never would have heard of. But we're going to look at some British slang and some more localized cultural things. So let's get into it. The first topic is obviously about the presidential election in America. So we've been trying to put it off as much as possible because this is a controversial topic, but we do have to talk about it this week. Trump's political comeback. Okay.
The big one.
It's a big one. It's a big one. So let's go through the first paragraph, see how much you understand. We'll explain the tricky vocabulary afterwards. In a historic political comeback, Donald Trump has been elected the 47th President of the United States, defeating Democratic nominee Kamala Harris in the 2024 presidential election. This victory marks Trump's return to the White House after a 4-year hiatus, making him the second US president to serve non-consecutive terms, following Grover Cleveland in the late 19th century. Okay. So I think this is not so difficult to understand. There's a couple of tricky words in there, and some interesting use of vocabulary, but let's go through them. The first one
Sure.
is don't call it a comeback. Comeback.
Don't call it a comeback. Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's quite self-explanatory to come back to a place, to return, come back, return. But in this case, it's like somebody was successful and they like lost, and then they come back, they become successful again.
Yeah.
So,
If you
yeah.
know the Rocky franchise, you probably have
Yeah.
seen he has a comeback. He fails in his. Does he win the second one? He fails in the
I,
first one, wins the
it's
second
just a
one.
blur, to be
Yeah.
honest.
But that's a good example of a comeback.
Mm.
Yeah, so this is his comeback. He was in office, then he went out of office, then he was re-elected.
You'll often see it in sports, though, right? Comeback. Like
Comeback,
it's like
super
a
common.
team's losing 3-0 and they win 4. I always think of Liverpool in Champions League.
Great example,
Yeah.
yeah. Liverpool AC Milan, wasn't it? Istanbul.
Yeah, yeah.
And Liverpool were down 3-0 at halftime. Interesting fact about that.
There we
Not
go.
not an interest, well, actually kind of a sad fact, is that someone bet their house that AC Milan, what was it? That Liverpool would win the game, and then at halftime they committed suicide.
Jesus Christ, that is not
Yeah,
the fun anecdote I thought it was going to be.
yeah. It's extremely sad. I don't know if that's true. I mean, that might just be a story,
Like
but
one of them urban legends or whatever.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Right,
it's a bit
cool.
harsh that one, isn't it? But like that's that. Yeah, that apparently that happens.
I mean, if you're betting your
It's
house on a random football game, like you've got bigger problems.
a pretty crazy thing to do. Yeah, for sure. But obviously
Cool.
Stevie G did the job.
Yeah,
But basically it's him who orchestrated that whole thing, and that was a great comeback for
there we
Liverpool.
go. You came back to the story.
I had to somehow. How did I get out of that hole? Oh dear. Next one, nominee.
Yeah, nominee. So comes from the word nomination. So it's a person who has been nominated. And in this case, like to be able to run for the presidency, you have
Mm.
to be nominated by your party, right? They have to choose you to be able to be elected. Yeah.
That should happen. Unfortunately, that didn't happen in this case, but that
Oh,
should happen. Yeah,
shock horror,
she
but there we
was
go.
the Democratic nominee that they put in
Wait,
place.
he's a Republican, isn't he? I'm more, I don't know Democrat,
Donald Trump
Republican in
is the
America.
Republican,
Oh, okay.
and the Democrats nominee was
Was
Kamala Harris. Yeah.
Biden was the other one. I mean, I know very little about American politics. I'm probably
Mm.
going to show my ignorance during this, but there we go.
No worries, I'll help you out with that one. I've been
Cheers,
studying
mate.
the last 6 months. Okay, so yeah, nominee, and nominee could be for many different things, like you said.
Hmm.
It doesn't just have to be something
I
specific.
feel like an award as well, like at the Oscars or something.
Fantastic example, yeah. Just to be someone who is included in a group of people with the opportunity to win something, essentially. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Mark, I picked this one because I think it's not in the way that most people would have thought.
It's one of those interesting because obviously first people think his name, not true in this case, but to mark something is usually to, it could be damage it in a way. Like, oh, I marked my car, like I bashed it and put some scratch on it or something. But I
Damage,
think
yeah.
in this case, it's more like historical flag in the ground. You know what I mean? It's like it's showing that this was an important event. It's highlighting that something was important or noteworthy. I think
Yeah.
noteworthy was one that we had in a previous episode. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right.
yeah.
So it's an important point in history or something that we should take note of at some point. So, for example, in the text, it says this victory marks Trump's return to the House after a
The White
four,
Hart Lane.
yeah, after a 4 year hiatus. Hiatus, which is the next word.
Oh, good segue. Break, pause.
Hmm.
Take a hiatus from doing something so you have a break. Yeah,
Yeah, chill out. He
yeah.
was obviously his hiatus was not of his choice. Of course, he was
Mm,
running in 2020, but didn't get the vote, so he had a hiatus. He wasn't there.
mm.
So
So he
yeah,
was in the White House, hiatus, back to the White House.
perfect. That's exactly it. And then we're going to take a little break here to look at some pronunciation, specifically the sound. It's a sound that many
Nice.
people struggle with, and we're going to be going over some of the words in here and some of the words that are around us, around the world. We could say,
Hey.
yeah, around the world.
Oh
Yeah. So
God.
anyway, around us. So let's look at a few of those that I picked out. I picked two from the paragraph that we just read, and I picked four others that people struggle with. So please repeat after me if you want to practice. Here we go. Serve, serve, term, term, girl, girl, word, word, world, world, bird, bird. Now, for me,
Lovely
I think
stuff.
that dark L is the trickiest thing, isn't it?
Yeah, in world especially. Also, the one that everyone gets mixed up is work and walk. That's a big one.
Yeah, totally. So
Mm,
yeah, so again, a dark L affecting that with the walk, walk, yeah, which is
mm,
tricky. So maybe we can come on to dark L in another session, but today we're
mm.
looking at so there was a bit of practice. In the second paragraph, there are none, unfortunately, this time. Uh, 1 minute, wait a second. No, tell a lie. In the second article is what I mean. There is none in the second paragraph, but they're in the second article. There are three. So see if you can spot those three. If you do, I will be happy. Okay. So let's go into the second paragraph. Here we go. Trump's campaign focused on key issues such as economic revitalization, immigration reform, and national security. He secured pivotal swing states, including Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, which were crucial to his electoral success. In Wisconsin, Trump garnered 49.8% of the vote, compared to Harris's 48.3%, with 98% of votes counted. Okay.
Wow.
So I've got some extra pronunciation things I've just seen I want to add in for this second
Hmm.
paragraph, which will be
Well, if you want
useful.
to do that, and while you're doing that, I'll go through the pronunciation. So the first one
The
is,
definitions, yeah?
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
You know what I meant. The first one, revitalization.
Hmm.
Revitalization. To revitalize something is to almost give it new life. It's dying and like Stu's plant in the background. It's not looking good. Put some
Hey, hey,
water
hey,
on
hey,
it.
hey, this is phenomenal. It's just the color coordination isn't good here, okay? You got dark blue and green. Blue and green should never be seen, they say. So here,
Ah,
yeah, it's not in the best of shape, but this
need
has
to put
lasted
some
three
water on it
months.
and it'll be
Look, I'm
revitalized.
going to be defensive about this. I've been there, it's been there 3 months. That's crazy good,
It
in my
is.
opinion. Anyway, sorry about
I
that.
didn't realize I was touching such a nerve, Stu. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So, so revitalization, the act of bringing something like back to life or giving it a new life.
Yes.
So
Like
yeah,
my
in this
plant needs to be
case,
revitalized, apparently.
economic revitalization. They're trying to bring the economy back to life because it's not doing well.
Yes.
Um, Next is reform.
Reform. Yeah, reform.
So to kind of reinvent something, I guess, immigration reform. So they're looking at changing the policy, because I think policy was a word we looked at before.
Yes.
They're they're going to try and improve the current policy by making changes to it. Now, reform usually means improve, but occasionally it can mean like start from scratch
Mm.
and try a new way. So that's good.
We should mention
Uh,
that in the maybe people have seen on the news. If you watched any British news recently, there is a
mm,
party that have appeared in the UK called Reform,
yeah.
um, which yeah, if you
Is it
didn't
Farage?
know, it's Farage, yeah.
Oh
But
God.
if you
All
if
right.
you did, if you didn't know, it's similar meaning. That's the meaning that they feel that they're putting towards. They're trying to say we make a change for the better. So they called the whole
Rather
parliament.
than time machine party for going backwards, but whatever. Anyway, the next word, swing state, which
Swing
is a very
states.
American term. You're not really going to hear it
Super
outside of
American.
American politics, but
Yes.
and from what I understand, it's like there's certain states that will change from election to election which
Yes.
side they vote for, right? 'Cause, I mean,
Which is
generally speaking, same in England. I guess we have swing
mm,
states in a way, but they're not states, right? They're swing cities or counties or
district.
boroughs or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
because generally in England, I mean, I'm not painting a brush, but generally the North votes Labour, the South votes Conservative, generally speaking. But there'll
Mm.
be certain places that change. And that's basically what is happening here. And I think they mentioned Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan.
Michigan.
Um, yeah, so these election by election, they change which party they vote for. Whereas in America, there's certain, like, for example, New York always votes the blue one, right? From what I understand.
Democrat. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, yeah, it does
interesting.
seem. I did compare. I did watch the election, and I did compare the because I wanted to understand that because I was like, well, it doesn't make sense in a great deal
Mm,
why you would just do it one way or the other, does it? Like, why would you just stick with one? You
mm,
should be able to be flexible. But it does seem like the map doesn't change much apart from those 7 or 8 states,
mm.
which are swing states. So yeah, it's kind of
It's
interesting.
interesting.
And the last one is
Nice.
Ghana, garnered,
Garner.
but garnered.
Garnered. Um, so I guess to garner in this case is to earn or to gain or
Hmm.
to collect, I
Yeah.
suppose is a good word. So it's another way because it says Trump garnered 49.8% of the vote. So got, Trump won, collected. Yeah, those kind of
Received.
words. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got quite a few, 100%. So let's go through some pronunciation, which I'm going to add in for this one. Uh, did yeah, let's have a look at. Uh, I've picked out 5 words for us to look at today from this one, from both paragraphs. Let's go through those. We have nominee. That E bit at the end can confuse people. So nominee. We also have hiatus, that A in the middle, hiatus.
Just a quick
Mhm.
question before you move
Yes,
on. Like in terms of stress, has that got two stresses? Hiatus, like because high
IA.
and A seem to be equally stressed in that.
Yeah, I would say that A is. I'm just.
It's
My guess.
hiatus, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My guess is
Mm,
that A is the key thing there.
mm.
Yeah, it seems so. That A
Cool.
is the key one, but yeah, it's not a weakened sound anyway. The
No,
I.
it's not got the weak vowel. It's not hiatus
Well,
like
it's
it
not.
might have been.
It should be hit, shouldn't it? Really, hit
Yeah.
atus if we're going
Mm,
to do it. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Must be
mm.
from where it's originally from, not so much
Sure.
this. From English, I should think. So revitalization. revitalization. Again, I in the middle there. Revitalization. Uh, pivotal, pivotal. So don't say the O. Pivotal. And last one, crucial.
Mm.
Crucial. That's a bit of a mess at the end, isn't it? Crucial. So
Mm.
watch out for those. 1 second. Just need a quick glass
Bit
of
cough
water.
and a bit of water. So yeah, crucial.
Mm.
Shoal is kind of a strange with a schwa in there. Shoal.
Yeah, that's right.
It's quite
Yeah, yeah.
interesting.
There is an interesting in it. But at AL, we had pivotal,
Mm.
crucial, the all,
Mm.
you know.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. It's and if you think about what we were talking about earlier, walk, we have a
Mm.
similar sound, a period, dark L and the ooh kind of before it. So yeah,
Mm.
just a case of watching out for that.
Lovely.
Then I picked up the three states,
Yeah,
which
because I think I got one of these wrong. I don't know whether it's Michigan or Michigan.
yeah, so this I think all of them are quite tricky. I mean, we talk about how there's a lot of words in English where the sounds are not phonetical and in certain words, and this is a great example of it. I think for all three of these, Wis, Wisconsin, sun at the end there, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, not
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
yeah, exactly. Pennsylvania. Yeah, again, a couple of sounds you wouldn't expect in there. And the last one,
Pencil, like a pencil thing. Yeah.
pencil. Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's one like there's too many N's, then there's a Y randomly, and then
Yeah.
Vania. Like there's no need for that to be A, but it is Pennsylvania. And then Michigan. Yeah,
Is
Michigan.
it sure? Okay.
Yeah, Michigan. And then the other small thing I wanted to point out, and a lot of my students all have this same issue, actually, have had this same issue. This whenever there's this
Uh,
dot in the middle. So 48.3, it should be point, always point is the name, not dot,
hmm,
point, and then three. And then if the number is, for example,
three
what's the number for
zero four.
pi? Yeah, pi is like
3.14159, whatever it
yeah,
is.
well, amazing job there. I definitely didn't Google it just then. Because I can't remember. But yeah, let's take pi, 3.14. Yeah, so it's some people will say 3.14, but no, because the
Mm,
one doesn't operate as a 10 anymore in this example. So 3.14. After the point, it's always just individual numbers, okay? So
unless it's money.
unless it's money. But yeah, that's a slightly different scenario because really we're talking about if it's a pound, it's 100 pence, isn't it? So,
Exactly. So
you
people
know,
need to be careful with that. Because if that was money, it'd be £3.14.
yeah. But we don't
Yeah.
say 3 point.
That's the other thing. We put the name of the currency where the point is
Yeah,
usually.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So currency, good point. Good point. Good point.
Hey!
Yeah,
Puns all over the shop.
fantastic. So let's go through the shadowing for this one. Here we
Oh,
go.
I forgot
Hopefully I
about
can
shadowing.
survive. If you guys didn't realize I'm a little sick today, actually, I've had a cold and cough all week, so feel sorry for me, please, in the comments. Here we go. Let's go through the shadowing. In a historic political comeback, Donald Trump has been elected the 47th. Blimey, I'm going to do that again. In a historic political comeback, Donald Trump has been elected the 47th President of the United States, defeating Democratic nominee Kamala Harris in the 2024 presidential election. This victory marks Trump's return to the White House after a 4-year hiatus, making him the second US president to serve non-consecutive terms, following Grover Cleveland in the late 19th century. Trump's campaign focused on key issues such as economic revitalization, immigration reform, and national security. He secured pivotal swing states, including Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, which were crucial to his electoral success. In Wisconsin, Trump garnered 49.8% of the vote compared to Harris's 48.3%, with 98% of votes counted. There we go.
Good job, Stu. Even with a bit of a cough, which he is enjoying right now. Good work. Good work, mate. So while you're doing that, I'll give this a go, shall I? I'm going to lubricate as well. Okay. So, in a historic political comeback, Donald Trump has been elected the 47th President of the United States, defeating Democratic nominee Kamala Harris in the 2024 presidential election. This victory marks Trump's return to the White House after a 4-year hiatus, making him the second US president to serve non-consecutive terms, following Grover Cleveland in the late 19th century. Trump's campaign focused on key issues such as economic revitalization, immigration reform, and national security. He secured pivotal swing states, including Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, which were crucial to his electoral success. In Wisconsin, Trump garnered 49.8% of the vote, compared to Harris's 48.3%, with 98% of votes counted.
Beautiful stuff. You are now allowed
I
to
need
copy as
to,
well.
yeah. I'm also still struggling a little bit, but after last week, I had a nightmare last week, so I'm trying to up my game and actually be able to read things like a adult.
It's good though, isn't it? Like we're
Yeah,
kind of pushing ourselves to the next level by doing this, I think.
because it's something I don't regularly do, to be honest.
Yeah, and I was saying. So it's interesting. It's like a performing art in this
There we
case.
go. Like being back in drama class.
Exactly. So, so I don't want to go too much into which you think is better, but I would like to talk about what role do you think in your experience from the UK, what role do you think the media plays in a lot of these kind of big decisions that people make?
It's kind of insane how powerful the media is at this time of year. And especially through social media now, is like on TV, theoretically, there is some governing body that's kind of overlooking what's acceptable to put on TV. In
Yeah.
theory. I mean, it doesn't really work out, but whatever. However, there's very little safeguarding online. Realistically, what is to stop me making a Twitter account under a new name and just posting whatever I want without regard for what's real and what's true, and it getting shown to millions of people? You know what I mean? Like, and that's the problem with social media. There's like, how do you do both things? How do you protect from misinformation, but also allow free speech? Like, it's really difficult to do that. So, but I'm surprised at how much power the media has in these situations.
Yeah, well, I my kind of view is a little bit opposite to that, to be honest.
Mm,
And it's good that we can talk about opposite views because that seems to be something that's disappeared. We talked about a little bit before we came on air about that.
mm,
Um, but I think that before we wouldn't have known if there was media bias in the media. So, like now, if it wasn't for everyone being able to watch out, to look out,
mm,
to like go through and check everything they're quoting, like a lot of the stuff, when I watched this cycle from both sides, I saw a lot of the things that the candidates said was being misquoted by the media. So,
mm,
there was one thing where the like and the problem is it's quite a big force now because they're all under one roof or they're all clubbed together
mm,
for one candidate potentially. So what I noticed, one thing I noticed was like Trump said something like there was one lady who moved over to the Democrat side from Republicans who helped with like wars in the past. And he said in a speech he said something like um it's funny for her to talk about the war and saying how bad it is when she's the one who encouraged it in the past and she's not experiencing she wouldn't be saying the same if it was her in the war zone getting shot, not like
mm.
her like the people she sends. And they clipped it up to say that he wanted her executed.
Yeah, I mean, you can edit things these days in any way, shape, or form, which is also quite dangerous, isn't it? Especially now with like AI and all this kind of crazy stuff. It's going to be, and I think one thing that's happened over the last 10 years is like everybody's kind of lost their trust in media. Nobody really knows if what they're seeing is right or wrong, or if it's been doctored or edited, or whatever it is. It's kind of difficult. And Stu's disappeared, but I'll keep talking. Um, yeah, so I think that's a big issue. I also think another issue is like from the UK side of it, we do have the newspapers, which often lean one way or the other. You've got like the more liberal newspapers like The Guardian or Independent, for example. And then you've got like the more, conservative leaning newspapers, for example, The Sun or whatever. And but the problem is in the UK, the newspapers are all owned by Rupert Murdoch, essentially. So it's a
But at
big
least there
problem.
is a bit of like comparison between them. When
Hmm.
I grew up, I remember the Guardian being like a Lib Dem paper, and then the Sun would be Labour or something like this.
Yeah. Hmm.
But it does seem in the American side, it's very one-sided where the media is. So it's a
Mm.
really interesting situation.
Because you hear about like Fox News a lot, like it's very one way, and then there's like CNN, which is kind of the other side of the coin, I think. And it's kind of insane, but I think we also live in a world now where people read less newspapers and watch less news. So, which is good and bad because it means there's less control from the big media, but there's a lot more control and misinformation spread from social media. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
100%.
difficult.
It definitely is. On the flip side, you could get any person saying stuff on social media, and you can
Yeah,
get
there's
them
nothing for it. And I think
completely.
the problem is a good word, scaremongering happens a lot on social media where, because a lot of people, let's be true about this, no matter who won, there's going to be a lot of people upset and scared about the result.
Mm,
And that's fear is real. So, like, people kind of prey on that quite a lot, I think. And it can be really, really challenging to live in a world where you're kind of bombarded by that. So, for the mental health of the normal everyday person, it can be quite tricky, I think.
100%, definitely so. Okay, let's
Good.
go on to the second one. Hopefully, I can survive. Here we go.
Well, if you
Uh,
need to tag out, let me know.
sure, yeah, sure. Thank you. Middle East tensions escalate, and let's get into the first paragraph. In early November 2024, the Middle East experienced a significant escalation in hostilities, particularly between Israel and Hezbollah. On November the 5th, Israeli airstrikes targeted an apartment building in Barja, South Beirut, resulting in at least 20 fatalities and 14 injuries. Rescue operations are ongoing, with concerns that more victims may be trapped under the debris, under
Yeah.
the debris. Okay,
Okay.
so quickly, I just want to say apologies if we mispronounce any
Yeah,
places,
I was going to say that.
because yeah, I'm not so well versed in a lot of the
Me too. When
pronunciations.
you were reading it, I'm always like, I don't know, I'm going to say that. So, yeah,
Mm. But let's go
difficult
through
one.
yeah, yes, a couple of tricky ones, but and an interesting topic, a tricky topic.
Mm.
Let's go
So,
through some.
another pretty scary topic, isn't it? But let me go through some of the definitions then. The first one we've got here is escalation. So maybe if you're listening to this, you've heard the word escalator before, as in the kind of moving stairs that'll take you up the stairs, right? So if something escalates, it generally increases, but you'll hear the word escalation to talk about like pressure or intensity or seriousness increasing in a situation. So, in this case, the hostilities, which is the next word, the unfriendly and aggressive behavior has increased.
Yes,
So the hostility has escalated, the aggressive behavior has increased, is what we're
yeah.
saying. Yeah.
Escalation is a very common phrase you'll hear.
Yeah, especially in world politics. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely worth knowing about increasing of something.
Okay.
Fatalities?
Yes.
Fatality.
I was going to say, like, I probably learned this word as a kid from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Um, but fatality is like a news way of reporting a death of some kind, uh, usually from violence or accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very rarely used for anything outside of that. And it's very rarely used outside of traditional news, I would imagine. You know,
Yeah, a
um,
fatal's used, isn't it? But I
fatal
mean,
accident or something like
yeah,
that as an adjective.
yeah.
But the word fatality is rarely used outside the news, I would
It
imagine.
sounds strong to me. Like it sounds like something awful happened. Just take
Yeah.
obviously in the situation we know it's an awful thing. But I'm saying like if we hear it, it sounds like an awful thing
It's a
has
bit more
happened. Like,
serious, isn't it?
conjures up a very sad emotion in your head
Hmm.
before you even know there. If you as soon as you hear 20, if you just heard 20 fatalities, you think, oh my God, what's happened?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I think this is something that just to kind of touch on is the way English is used, which a lot of people struggle with. Why have you got 20 words for the same thing?
mm,
Because they've all got a nuance or they've all got a situation where they get used for certain effect. And this is one. They could have put 20 deaths. They could have said that. But they chose the word fatality because it's got more impact and it's got a nuance that's closer matched to the feeling of the news article, right?
mm,
So I think
mm.
that's a difficult thing for learners to get used to because we've got 20 ways to say everything. but we use them in different situations, and that nuance is really hard to learn. But this is an example of that.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm.
And then operation. I picked this one because there's a couple of different varieties we could use.
So not in a hospital, I'm guessing.
Operation. Do you remember the
Yeah.
advert? Operation, call the doctor.
You're the doctor. There's so much fun to have, or whatever it was. Yeah, yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah. Is
sorry.
that the game where you would like use the tweezers and you get electrocuted or whatever it was?
Yeah, not literally electrocuted, guys. No, but you get like a buzz sound.
Ah, yeah, that was it. It's like a little table. It's like you have to take out his funny bone or whatever. And
Yeah, it was ridiculous named things as well. Yeah, yeah. He
I
had
wonder
like
how popular that was outside. I mean, it seems quite a British thing, but I bet it's
I've
been
seen it in
around
Japan.
everywhere.
I've seen it in
Okay,
Japan.
well, there we go then. But yeah, in this case, operation, because it's referred to in more of like you get rescue operations or military operations where it's kind of like a procedure or a planned activity or something to achieve a goal. Yeah.
Like a James Bond operation.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've got to achieve this goal, so we're gonna. It's like a task almost to achieve, like a rescue operation. They need to rescue people.
Is there much difference? I'm going to ask you. I'm going to really put you on the spot, and I apologize about
There we
that.
go.
And I'm going to have to also Google because it's an interesting one I never really thought about. But mission versus operation, because I just said James Bond, and we often say mission for James Bond when we not necessarily operation.
That's a good point. I'm not sure what the difference actually is. It feels like mission is like the task is definitely achievable. You just got to do A, B, C. Bob's your uncle. You've achieved your mission. Whereas I think operation is more like we're going to try and do this. I'm not sure if we can or not. Like a rescue operation, it's never guaranteed that you can rescue everyone, right? That's kind of the nuance that I thought, but that's not based on any kind of academic learning. That's just what I thought.
It's just your initial reaction. Yeah. So often we get these kind of questions in lessons.
Like what's the difference between A and B? And they're very, very similar, but there's a very minute difference somewhere.
Yeah. So like I've had it often, and we're not dictionaries, but we do have
we often don't know, and we're teachers.
But we have an intrinsic idea, and then we check it, because we want to give the correct information, of course. So it says,
otherwise Ash will come and get us if we're giving out bad information. Ash will come for us on Instagram, and that'll be that.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, I just understood what you said. If you did, no one knows. So apparently, there's a couple of different. There's nothing really. A lot of the times when these things come up, if you can't find anything official with more official looking, and if it's just in a forum, a lot of the time when I'm looking at these things, they're just chucked into a forum and you
like
can't
a Quora or something.
Yeah, there's no like someone's made a web page on it or something, and especially like a BBC article or something. So I'm always like, well, just be wary of it, but this is the general easy way to think about it. Sometimes you don't need to think so deeply about it as well. Sometimes things are
Sometimes it doesn't matter.
In the same situation, they are easily transferred in the same situation. Or I can't think of the word I wanted to use there.
Do you know one example that always comes up? It's the difference between will and going to. Because yes, academically, there is a difference between those two things. But in real life, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like, I never really consider, like, I should have said will rather than going to there. Like, they're basically the same.
I had a lesson literally 2 days ago, and someone said, what's the difference between how do you think and what do you think? And I said,
this is quite a big difference. Yeah.
What do you think is the correct way of doing it grammatically in that situation? Because they're asking your opinion. How do you think is like the mechanism behind?
Yeah, my brain. How do you think? With my brain. Yeah.
But people do make those general errors. Even native or a lot of native speakers will make that error. Not intentionally. They just it comes out, but they continue, and that's the great thing I think about native speakers. It's not that they didn't know that's wrong; they know it's wrong, but they don't care, And that's the beauty.
Got the message over, didn't it?
That's the way you become fluent, isn't it? You go boom, and then that's where sarcasm comes in afterwards as well, because then friends will pick it up as a sarcastic joke. But yeah. So anyway, we didn't actually answer the question. Basically, I can't find too much information, but one person says, historically, operations are based on tactical planning. Missions are designed to say, rescue a group of hostages or seize a specific thing.
So it's like operations got more planning behind it. Mission is just like do what you can to achieve a.
I think it's a
But
really
I think it's six of one and half a dozen of other. Yeah, mate.
exactly that.
Nice expression, by the way. Six of one and half a dozen of the other. It's basically two things are the same.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, very British expression, that one.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let's go to paragraph 2.
Hmm.
This incident is part of a broader pattern of intensified military act. 1 minute, one more time again. Oh, it's my turn this week. It was you last week. My turn this week. This incident is part of a broader pattern of intensified military action. Israeli forces have conducted multiple airstrikes in Lebanon's Bekaa region and southern suburbs of Beirut, aiming at areas associated with Hezbollah. In retaliation, Hezbollah has launched rockets into northern Israel, further escalating tensions. Okay.
Yeah.
Broader pattern. I picked this one broad. I think it's a interesting way of using the word, and yeah, broader pattern, quite a common collocation.
So broader generally means larger. Generally, like somebody can have broad shoulders. Their shoulders are pretty wide, like a rugby player or something. But a broader pattern, it's a repeated behavior or trend which is growing over time, I think. But this is going back to the thing. What's the difference between broad and thick when you get like an accent or something? Like they're very similar, aren't they?
But people do use them. What's the word where you just put in a word, you replace a word?
Interchangeable.
That is it. Yeah. I always use it with my students. I just forgot today. I blame the cough. It's the cough's fault, guys. Yeah, okay. Interchangeable. Yeah. I think in a lot of cases, a lot of these things are just interchangeable for people. Like I said, that how and what, we know it's grammatically incorrect
but people
in the
will
situation,
do it.
but people do it. Yeah. So they just use it interchangeably. And the key thing is context and what are you trying to do? Is it the most important part of your speech? No, then you're probably going to lose it. And a similar thing with connected speech or with the way that just language has evolved over time. If you take I did a video for Sunal yesterday, and it was like he wanted me to say, "How are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, we wouldn't say it like that. How are you doing?" Although it's taught, that's grammatically correct, but we'd say, "How you doing?"
How you doing? Yeah.
Yeah. So we kind of skipped the R actually. How you doing? It's really 3 words, and the you is changed to you. And there's not even
how you doing.
So it's just
there's
evolved.
a lot of stuff there.
It's evolved where it's shortened, hasn't it? And
that's happening a lot.
Similar with the interchangeable words like this, broader and wider. Yeah, quite similar.
Thicker.
Wide reminds me more of a space, though. I will say
sure.
Wide is a bit more like a space.
I like broad shoulders or like something like that.
But we do say wide body as well, don't we?
Yeah.
So they can be. Me, yeah, me as well. The good thing is, I have the perfect body for Santa this year.
Oh, you just need to grow a beard like mine and you're away.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a job in your local Eon shopping centre or whatever.
Yeah, just need to get a bit more stressed with the kids and my hair will be white before you know it. Okay.
Yeah. Right, where are we?
Suburb.
Completely lost track. Suburb. Here we go.
Is a very useful term because it can be used in any city. So you should learn this, in my opinion.
Very important. So a residential area that's on the outskirts of the city.
Might need to explain outskirts as well.
Yeah, the edge of the city. I remember being in geography in school where you draw the city centre and then a ring outside that, which is like the outer city. And then you've got the suburbs where people live, usually very residential areas that people then travel into the city for work.
So if I could take the example of London, and anyone who lives in the UK, you might understand this more. Would you say anything outside the M25 is a suburb?
I think it's more like a ring, the ring road, right? Is the M25, yeah. I guess so, because anywhere around there, because if you're going right, you get Slough and these kind of places and Reading or whatever. They're kind of residential, aren't they?
Yeah. But they're
even like Luton and stuff like that.
And the key thing is people commute into London from those locations.
That's the point, isn't it?
My family do. So it's really the key thing is where there's a group of communities where people were.
It's more for living than for anything else. Yeah.
But you can easily move into the centre if you need to.
And I suppose if you get beyond the suburbs, that's where you get to more like villages and, kind of rural areas beyond the suburbs.
100%. And that's right.
But good word.
Associate with.
To connect two ideas together. So,
Mm,
for example, stew is often associated with British English.
it's
Yeah,
a good
those
one.
two ideas are connected. So when you think of stew, you think of British English.
Yeah. Mike is often associated with Stu, me, because
Oh,
we've
that's
done
true,
lots of
actually. Yeah.
videos together, like
Yeah,
this.
like, yeah, you do come like a tag team. Like, you know,
Yeah. Like me and you are associated with each other because of this podcast. So
that's
you
true.
can use it for people and anything that connects together. Yeah.
Yeah, any when you think of A, if you also think of B, those two ideas are associated.
Tottenham Hotspur are associated with losing. So
I was going to say shit, but
I tell you what, I just realized I've been abusing. I've got nothing against
yeah,
Tottenham fans, but I think nearly
they've been
three of the
getting a
six
kick in.
episodes I've been saying them as an example.
Stu is escalating hostilities towards Tottenham Hotspur
Yeah,
fans.
from QPR fans. Oh yeah, right. They're like they care. They must be well worried about people at the bottom of the second league. Um, Next one, retaliation.
Yeah, to retaliate, to like get revenge in a way. Like if somebody does something bad to you, maybe you'll retaliate and do something bad back to them, like in
Yeah.
revenge or something. Um, but yeah, it's usually not a smart idea, but yeah, retaliation.
But retaliate, you could do not just for these big situations, is it? I mean, you could have you could have just broken up with someone and they retaliated by doing something like burning your clothes or something.
I knew you were going to say burning clothes for some reason. I'm not
I don't
really
know.
sure
There,
why.
there
It
were
don't
other
happen all the
options.
time.
There were other
Yeah.
options, but I was trying to go with the least
For
extreme
some
one.
reason, I'm like, he's going to talk about burning clothes here, and you did.
Yeah,
So there we go.
there we go. Our minds are associated with each other. Uh, that doesn't really work, but yeah. Anyway, let's have a look at
But
some pronunciation. Anyway,
good.
um, did we go over the? Did we do pronunciation the first? I
I
don't.
think we skipped the
Yeah, so let's
pronunciation,
do
mentioned it
both
all
of
in one
these.
go.
So the three words you should have noticed were for the sound. If you weren't laughing along with us because we're so funny, you may have noticed that we had these three words with the sound: concern,
And
suburb,
herb.
and further. Okay.
Very
Further
good.
is a tricky one. A lot of people get confused between further and father, but I think we're going to be opening another kettle of fish if we start talking about further and father, to be honest with you. So let's go on to the other words that are picked out for pronunciation here. Hostilities. Hostilities. Lots of like very straight
Ease.
letters in
Yeah.
that one. It's like a horrible one to look at, isn't it? Very easy if you've got bad eyes to make a mistake with that word. Same with the next one, actually. Fatalities. Fatalities. Injuries. Injuries. Lots of E's here. Uh,
Mm.
Debris. Or
Debris for me.
So yeah, this is the interesting one. So if you Google debris and put it in debris pronunciation, and I recommend anyone who struggles with pronunciation to always do this, to look at two things. I suggest to put into Google and then also check the Cambridge Dictionary online because
Yeah, for the
I love the Cambridge
phonetics.
Dictionary.
Yeah, it's
Cambridge
so good.
Dictionary is so good, honestly. It's
Mm.
not just for the pronunciations, and it also tells you if there's what do they call it? What's the word where it's like uncommon version, but it is there. It's more common.
Ah, like more like yeah,
There's a
where it's
word.
less in
Whereas
use.
mischievous is a common is a
Or like
common
mischievous or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they use a special word for
Because
that.
sometimes in England we've got like older pronunciation and more new pronunciation of similar of the same word,
It's not
where
there anymore.
maybe a bit more archaic in a way. But
Yeah, but it's like there's a special word for it anyway. But it
mm,
shows you multiple things for pronunciation, and it also shows you fantastic definitions, in my opinion, simplified
really
definitions.
good,
Yeah,
really
which
good.
are better than any other.
Cambridge Learners Dictionary is the one that I always tell people to go
Yeah.
to.
So it's actually an exceptional piece of work. If you
And
get
it's
the time
free. Like, what more could you possibly
I
want?
mean, it's ridiculous. I
Yeah.
don't know how they do it.
But the
But
IPA as
anyway,
well, like learning IPA just generally, if you're learning English, is very important.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. But this debris and debris. So if you check it out on Google, you'll see debris is the British version and
Mm.
debris is the American version. But as we've talked about on many of these podcasts, um, this debris and debris, the debris part, it could be something that also is still used in the north of England. It's
Mm.
just because the government is in the south of England that they say this is the way British people speak, but it's just not true. If you
Yeah,
know
when it
anything
comes to
about British English,
British.
Yeah,
pronunciation. It's almost always like whatever RP
yes,
is
yeah, yeah,
considered the
essentially.
British version. Yeah,
I think it's to show the distinction as well
sure.
as the fact of where the government is, and this is where
Hmm,
uh, probably the larger amount of population is as well, is in the
sure.
south, I'd assume, because of London. But the key thing is the British English is so much variety. It's not one way, not one and done. You know,
And this is the
you have
thing.
to see. Yeah,
When we say like North, I'm literally talking about my accent, Yorkshire.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas, Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle are all probably different.
Yeah. And
So
they are very,
it's hard.
they are very different. I think they're distinct is probably the best word. Like
Mm.
a Geordie, Scouse,
So
York,
even when we generalize North against
Cumbrian.
South, we are generalizing. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily the truth.
But we're doing the next step for you. So first step
Mm.
is there's not just American English, guys. There's American and
Yeah.
British. And then we want to break it down to a further stage. And then on the channel,
Mm.
there's some videos where we've broken down even further than that. Like
Mm.
Cockney or then some Scouse and some other accents that we looked at. So
Mm.
yeah, make sure that you go a bit deeper into it. Don't just think there's one way. And there's not just you can also have your own style of accent as long as it's clear to me.
That's the thing.
That's the
Yeah.
key thing. Right? So anyway, they do say debris is British, but as we've discussed, debris is spoken in north of England and in America. And then we have intensified, and military, military.
Mm.
This ending tree. So remember, if you see RY with L as well, L have this like the ending vowel sound usually is very weak in these
Mm.
combinations. It's something to watch out for. Okay, shadowing. Let's do the shadowing. I realize the time's getting a bit low. So here we go. In early November 2024, the Middle East experienced a significant escalation in hostilities, particularly between Israel and Hezbollah. On November 5th, Israeli airstrikes targeted an apartment building in Barja, south of Beirut, resulting in at least 20 fatalities and 14 injuries. Rescue operations are ongoing, with concerns that more victims may be trapped under the debris. This incident is part of a broader pattern of intensified military actions. Israeli forces have conducted multiple airstrikes in Lebanon's Bekaa region and southern suburbs of Beirut, aiming at areas associated with Hezbollah in retaliation of. Sorry, I went too fast. Aiming at areas associated with Hezbollah. In retaliation, Hezbollah has launched rockets into northern Israel, further escalating tensions. Okay, just a
Cool.
little
Good.
mistake.
Right, my turn.
Yep.
So in early November 2024, the Middle East experienced a significant. God. In early November 2024, the Middle East experienced a significant escalation in hostilities, particularly between Israel and Hezbollah. On November 5th, Israeli airstrikes targeted an apartment building in Barja, south of Beirut, resulting in at least 20 fatalities and 14 injuries. Rescue operations are ongoing with concerns that more victims may be trapped under the debris. This incident is a part of a broader pattern of intensified military actions. Israeli forces have conducted multiple airstrikes in Lebanon's Bekaa region and in southern suburbs of Beirut, aiming at areas associated with Hezbollah. In retaliation, Hezbollah has launched rockets into northern Israel, further escalating tensions.
Okay, that's absolutely wonderful. So
Got
that
there in the end.
we have got there. We should celebrate that. But yes, this is fantastic news. We no, this is not fantastic news. What I mean is this is
But we got to the
fantastic
end is the good
that we
news.
got to the end is the good news. Because we're going to go on to our little bit of local news.
Something to lighten the mood a little bit.
Yep. And this is
And I
from.
haven't seen this yet, so
It's not as fun as the other ones, but I still think it's got some nice vocabulary and it's quite cute kind of story. This one is from the this is from the Northumberland Gazette.
I love the word gazette 'cause you know it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, I know Gazette. That's beautiful. It's just a stage above leaflet.
Isn't it, basically?
Yeah. Okay, so the Northumberland Gazette, and the title is Rescue Dog Who Is Not Cute and Fluffy Seeks Forever Home After 4 Years in Kennels.
Aw,
Okay, yeah, it's kind of cute one.
okay.
So yeah, this one is an interesting topic, and we're going to go through the article now. Here we go. A heart-wrenching video shows what life is like for an unlucky rescue dog who has spent over half his life in the shelter. Elizabeth Cooper, a volunteer dog walker, says Bear has been overlooked because he is not cute, fluffy, and small, and he can be overly enthusiastic. But he would make the ideal pet for a patient person who enjoys walking. Staff at the OEH Foundation in Presaw are hoping that the video will help to find the unfortunate Pooch his perfect forever home. Ms. Cooper, who regularly walks Bear, says she has built up a connection with the Romanian rescue dog, but that she isn't in a position to home him. She told Shots TV he just likes walking, so he needs someone that likes walking and somebody just to spend time with him and get to know him. Bear is described as a cheeky, bouncy dog who is always happy and enthusiastic and would ideally suit a home without children. He also has a spinal condition which he takes medication for, but it doesn't stop him acting like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh.
Okay,
Okay,
nice.
I do want to mention, yeah, that these obviously we're taking one from a specific article. The other two articles I've kind of done a little bit of a roundup myself,
Hmm.
but this one is from a specific company, the
Hmm.
Northumberland set, and we kind of want to also showcase local media because they don't really get much attention. So if they get anything, I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Please go and check out the website, put it in Google if you want to.
Hmm.
And this one has a couple of nice British slang words in. Again, as we talked
Hmm.
about before, local news is generally a simpler kind of language being used.
Hmm.
I do want to mention one pronunciation thing many people struggle with, and it's MS.
Hmm.
We have
As
Mr.,
in Mr., Mrs., and
Ms. Yeah, so this
Ms.
this is the one that many people struggle with. Also, Mrs. some people struggle with as well because it is
Hmm.
a bizarre kind of combination, to be honest. But yeah, Mr., Mrs., Ms. in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah, so watch out for that. But let's
Even though
go.
it's an S, it's more like a Z sound, isn't it?
That's right. Perfect. Spot on.
Hmm.
So let's look at the vocabulary. We got heart-wrenching.
Heart-wrenching. Causes people deep sadness or sympathy, or it's very upsetting.
Yes. So
Yeah.
you might say
It's
that
like
about,
somebody's wrenching your heart. That's how much it hurts.
yeah,
Yeah.
wrench is like a movement. A wrench is
Hmm.
really like this kind of action with some
Like
kind
a
of
twist
trauma.
almost, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. But you might hear people say this about movies or something.
Yeah, like it's a heart-wrenching tale of
Yeah.
whatever.
E.T. might be heart-wrenching to some people, I guess. Yeah. And then the next one is overlooked. I think this is
Yeah,
important.
overlooked. So yeah, if you're not considering somebody here and you look over them, beyond them,
Yeah.
to fail to notice or consider something or choose to ignore it because it's not important.
Yeah. So this is useful because people will feel kind of like you are not respecting them if they use
Yeah,
this towards you. Yeah. So just be careful of that. People being overlooked, maybe because of where they're from or from their gender or something like
like
this. You might see in
but
the
the
news
job
as well.
interviews or something. Oh, he was overlooked for the job because his son got the job instead or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's worthwhile knowing about this phrase. You'll see it in media a lot. You'll see it in you can actually put it into your everyday life, I think.
Hmm.
Uh, overly, back to the overs.
Overly. More than is needed or like excessively.
Yeah, yeah, too much. Overly.
Yeah.
He can be overly enthusiastic. He does it too much.
But they're using the word overly to kind of try and paint it in the most positive light possible. Because if you say like excessively, that's got a bad connotation. But
Right.
overly can just be like more than expected, not necessarily in a bad way.
That is a fantastic example. I love it. Um, Pooch.
Hey,
I like this one.
pooch.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a just dog, right? It's just another
Mm.
word saying dog. Yeah,
Simple.
yeah,
As simple as that
pooch.
sometimes, but you didn't know it, now you do. Pooch.
Yeah,
What about mooch though?
mooch, as in for me, mooch around, like that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
mooch.
As in kind of just wander around aimlessly, mooching about.
We have these kind of terms with this ooch in
Hmm. And what about hooch?
I was
The
about to literally say the same thing.
the
Yes, we are definitely associated with each other today. I'm
so
gonna drive that home.
hooch. It was one of the first alco pops
Yeah.
in the UK when I was a
Ooch.
youngster. It was basically like It's almost like a cross between Fanta and alcohol,
Yeah,
basically.
it's Fanta and Smirnoff Ice, essentially.
Yeah, Smirnoff Ice is the other one. Yeah, bloody
Smirnoff
hell.
Ice. I'm trying to VKs were big when when I used to go to the clubs. You know VK?
The ones that are like bright blue and stuff.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't drink it because the color is like luminous, but you
Yeah, and
still
like the wake up the next day and your tongue is blue. Like,
yeah, like what the hell? Like why is this? Obviously, the chemicals in this is going to hurt me in many years to come, but I'll still do it. Next one is Forever Home.
especially with pets, you find this, or adoption in general. The place where they will go and live for the rest of their life, their forever home.
I like
Yeah.
that term. I think that's nice.
Yeah, it's quite nice, isn't it?
And the last one is a very
Oof,
British word.
cheeky.
Cheeky. Oh, stop being cheeky, Dan.
Well,
Cheeky.
this is interesting because, in this case, they mean cheeky as in like playful and mischievous and,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But we use it in a slightly different way when we use it meaning something that you probably know you shouldn't do, but you do, like having a cheeky VK on the way to the club or whatever it was. Like if you're,
A
let's say
cheeky pint. A
you're,
cheeky pint. That's a
yeah,
common.
it's like Friday lunchtime, you're on your lunch from
Yeah.
work
So
and you're
people are
like,
like, you drink
let's
at
have a cheeky
lunchtime,
pint.
but it is, yeah, in England.
Let's have a cheeky pint. We know we shouldn't. We know it's not the right thing to do, but we're going to do it anyway because we're
Mm.
feeling that way. Or, like what's the most common expression is cheeky Nando's was like a popular expression for
Oh
a
yeah,
long time,
cheeky
wasn't it?
Nando's.
Yeah. But I don't know what's cheeky about going to
About
Nando's, but
having a whole lunch. Yeah. There's
yeah,
nothing
yeah, yeah.
cheeky pint I get because it's like a one-off, like a quick one, and then and unexpected, this kind of
Mm,
thing. And you know you shouldn't probably do it, but you do. And then
mm.
but a cheeky Nando's, there's nothing cheeky about going for lunch.
That's what I thought.
You need
Like, I don't
lunch.
really get where that came from. It seems to be one of those like memes that just caught on,
I
like
think it's
out of
just because
nowhere.
it's like sometimes when the words go together well,
Mm.
you
I think it
kind
was
of
a bunch of like probably back in the day before TikTok, it was like Vine or whatever. Probably a bunch of those things mentioned British people love cheeky Nando's or whatever this, and it kind of caught on. But yeah, cheeky can also be used in the UK as like I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to do it anyway.
yeah. And it's a good
It kind of.
example of where it's not everything is so literal because
Hmm.
the if we look at cheeky pint for example, cheeky pint would be going for a quick drink that was unexpected. But if you had a planned event where you guys, event is the wrong word, but you planned to go out with your friends on a Friday night and then you met someone in the street that you hadn't seen or they said hello to you and they're like, what are you up to? You might say, I'm going for a cheeky pint, but you're not, it's not like an
It's
unexpected
planned,
thing.
isn't
It's
it?
planned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's
Yeah.
just, it's used in that situation just
It's
to,
kind of like jovial, joking, like, yeah, it's fun in it, like
yeah,
kind of thing. But
exactly.
yeah, cheeky. Um,
Cheeky.
and
Mhm.
bear apparently is cheeky. The thing that confused me about this article is they called the dog Bear.
Yeah.
Maybe
Like,
that's not helping with adoption. It's like, oh, do you want to adopt Bear? Like, no, I don't
yeah.
want a bear. Like, what are you talking about? Like some great big grizzly showing up at your door. Like, no, you're all right. But
I've
yeah, I
got,
thought that was kind of interesting choice.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to adopt bear. I've got bear money for it. Mm.
Which is another bit of British slang for you there from the roadman.
Yeah. I'm from am I the road man?
Yeah, G.
Yeah. OG road man. No, it means that I don't have enough or something like this. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
bear actually means a lot of these days, doesn't it? If you in certain parts
Oh,
of the
yeah, as
country.
well. Yeah.
So bear traditionally meant nothing. Like I opened
Mm.
the cupboard and it was bare. Like there
Yeah.
was nothing in the cupboard. But now it's like, yo, do a bear man dem in the rave.
Oh, really? See, I'm using it wrong then. So there we
So
go.
there you go.
I'm
Bear
too
in
old.
roadman slang means a lot
A
of.
lot. Interesting. Interesting.
Anyway, on a complete tangent. Oh, what's next? We've got to do the
Quiz.
quiz.
Quiz,
All
and
right,
then
cool.
we're gonna just test to see if you
It's
remembered some
episode
of these
6 and I still
already.
don't even know what we're doing. Like,
You'll get it by 60. So here we go. I'll go through the question, Dan will give you the words, and then we'll give you the answer. So here we go. First one. Are you ready for the quiz? After working for 5 years without a break, she decided to take a brief to travel and relax. And your options are
retaliation, hooch, hiatus, and concern.
okay, we'll give you 5 seconds. Here we go. And the answer is hiatus. She decided to take a brief hiatus. to travel and relax. Question 2.
So the movie managed to boom a lot of attention due to its unique storyline. What are the options, Stu?
We have hooch, garner, conduct, associate. And we'll give you 5 seconds. Here we go. Ding.
And the correct answer was garner. So the movie managed to garner a lot of attention due to its unique storyline.
Wonderful news. So did you get 2 out of 2 so far? Because we've got 3 and 4 to come. Here we go. The attack was seen as blah, 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 for the previous conflict between the 2 groups. And the answers potentially are
retaliation, hiatus, connection, and mitigate, or mitigate if you prefer with T's.
very beautiful. Here we go. 5 seconds. And a potential, no, the answer is not potential answer. The answer is retaliation. The attack was seen as retaliation for the previous conflict between the 2 groups. It says in bold letters what the answer is, and still I'm trying to choose the correct answer. Okay, so here we go. The
worst part is this has gone completely off the rails because of your little beatbox that I'm just enjoying so much.
I'm losing it. I'm in the wrong job. Okay, so
right. Number 4. Their little loves to play fetch in the garden every morning. What are the potential answers, Stu?
The potential answers are shelter, condition, pooch, and suit. Here we go. 5 seconds. Took away the beatbox.
Yeah, I must have got a bit self-conscious about it. I missed it.
I was.
Anyway, so the correct answer, of course, is hooch, as in little dog. Their, I mean, you couldn't put like baby. I suppose their little baby loves to. You could. Their little pooch loves to play fetch in the garden every morning. Oh,
perfect. That's a great roundup. So hopefully you got them right. If there's anything, any news story that you found interesting, tell us in the comments. Any new words you got? I'd love to know to make sure you're still learning from these great videos. And we will see you again next time.
Is there not a PDF for this one?
Oh, I didn't even mention it. There is, of course.
I'm going to say, everybody needs to go down to the description and get the PDF.
Oh, that's why you should know by now. There's always a PDF in the description, yeah, for you guys if you want the extra. So, yeah, make sure to check it out. But that's it for this one. Thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate your help.
No worries, buddy. Thanks for having me, as always.
And speak to you guys next time. Ciao, ciao.
See you there.